Welcome to the Gold Standard here on the 440 Sports Network. That is Emma Lingan. I am Braden Gall. We are brought to you by Sinkers Beverages. That is, of course, 5-time Liquor Store of the Year here in Nashville, Tennessee. Emma, the Nashville Predators coming up with new ways to lose games, some their own fault, some not their fault. We'll discuss. I've got a question about some young players, which seems to be a positive. What it is like to go to Bridgestone Arena right now at this point. And the week coming up. So Emma, how are you? Good to see you. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed about last night, I'll be honest. Because as you said, finding new ways to lose and disappoint people. It's one of those things where you think, like, really, was last year not enough of like just bad for things to start swinging the other way for this team, and apparently not.
No, of course not. I'm trying to come up with. They did beat Calgary since the last time we talked. Arguably the worst team in the NHL in a matinee on Saturday. Matthew Wood is doing good things. They recalled Zach LaRue. Ozzy Weisblatt's playing well. Luke Evangelista now leading the team in assists. So I'm going to try to mix in some good ideas and some good thoughts and some good topics with largely the same nonsense. Is what I'm going to try to do. So we'll have a little fun. If you want to jump into the comment section, please do so. Of course, rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice if you're listening there. Please share the show right now, right this second. That means you, Emma. That means everybody listening. That means me. That means everybody. Share it on YouTube so that people know that the show is happening. They can come hang out, ask some questions. We've got a bunch of you guys in the comments already. Mitch, Josh, Kevin, Nate, Nash, Lana. Always good to see all of you guys. Do appreciate all of you. Yes, happy hump day. There you go. We've got questions. Oh, here's a good one from Nate. What do you think? What do y'all think about Barry getting back behind the bench? Apparently, Jeff Merrick and Greg Wyshynski podcast says it's inevitable. Just wait. We'll get into that a little bit as well. It had to be against Minnesota as well, says Nash Lana. Matthew Wood is a shining bright spot for the season so far, says Mitch Cosplay as well. Josh, good to see you. Lop, good to see all of you guys. Okay. I'm going to try to mix it in good and bad. And this first topic is a little bit of both. Because as is the case, it's easy for me to say, Emma. As is the case in hockey, you can play a really good game and get beat. You can play a really terrible game and steal a win. The beauty of the NHL and the beauty of this sport that makes it so fun to watch is how unpredictable the outcomes and the gameplay can be. Sure, sometimes you play great and you dominate and you win, and sometimes you get your ass kicked and you actually lose by 4 or 5 goals. Sure, that happens. But this is a team that was down by 2 goals against Vancouver. Or excuse me, am I trying to blank? On Monday against Vancouver. Yeah, okay. Again, they're down by 2 goals in the third period. Didn't play a particularly great game. But battled back, and then of course give up what happens with 2 seconds to go in the overtime, which of course is Brock Besser, who if you lived under a rock, Brock Besser made my 7-year-old cry. Maybe she was 6 at the time. Made her cry in game. I think it was game 4. 8 seconds to go. Brock Besser ties it against Vancouver 2 years ago in the playoffs. Sends it to overtime. They lose in overtime. Same basically thing here. 2 seconds to go, he scores. You get beat on the face-off. It is what it is. Then you play a much better hockey game on the road, away from home, against yet again a bad team, and you still need to score with less than a second, with a guy who's like the headline maker right now for the team, Steven Stamkos, scoring with less than a second to go to send it to overtime, only to lose on. I don't even know how to describe what the NHL did at the end of this game. So, Emma, first I want you to just react to like the last 2 nights of hockey in general and be like, of course Nashville lost both games. Of course. Because Roman Yossi's on IR, Cole Smith is injured, and they are literally inventing new ways to lose hockey games.
They are. Of course, both went to overtime. They end up, ending in kind of bizarre ways in the final second seconds. And then I think, like you said, worth noting Cole Smith. Cole Smith has been out. He will be out for the next 3 to 6 weeks. He has, I think, now every right to demand whatever he wants on his next contract, considering how much the Predators penalty kill has fallen apart without him for 2 games in a row. The penalty kill was the one thing about this team that we thought we could count on. It's like, well, it's not going to be pretty, but at least they're going to kill all their penalties. Well, they gave up two power play goals in each of the last 2 games. That's 4 total. Didn't know 2 + 2 = 4. I just wanted to hammer that point home because that was supposed to be the one thing. It's like, well, this team can't score goals for shit, but hey, they can kill penalties with the best of them. Well, now they can't even do that. So that was frustrating to watch. It makes the dumb, undisciplined stick penalties even more frustrating to watch because now they can't kill those penalties anymore, apparently. And now you've got, again, like, especially against Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota is struggling. This was a winnable game, a very winnable game for Nashville. And it went down to the final wire. And I think truly it's because of those penalties. Had Nashville managed to be disciplined, had they not committed those silly stick penalties and given up goals on the power play, they would have won this game. It wouldn't have even gone to overtime. They wouldn't have even needed Stamkos to tie it up at the end. To me, that's what stands out the most.
Andrew Brunette is now 82, 80, and 17 as the head coach of the Nashville Predators. And I suppose if you put the playoff series in there, he's exactly 500. So if you put the playoff series in there, he is 84, 84, and 17 as the head coach of the Nashville Predators. If you take away the 18-game point streak, which is 16 wins and 2 ties, remember, or 2 overtime losses, I think, 66, 80, and 15. He has won 60 outside of that winning streak, which again I know is a big part of his record. So I hear you can't just take it away. But if you do that and just look at everything else outside of that winning streak, he has won 66 times in 2+ seasons as the head coach. We'll get to more of that in a second, but I just want to drive that point home because they are now 5, 6, and 4 on the season. Their 5 wins are Calgary, Ottawa, Columbus, Vancouver, and the Kings. They have 4 regulation wins. And even a game in which they played probably as the better team, they still had to score a goal in the last minute. And then they put themselves in the situation to let the NHL do the thing that we're all pissed about, which is sort of make a call that just doesn't feel like it fits. Now, Adam Vingan tweeted out the rule. So I'm going to read the rule according to, I believe this is rule 63.7. I don't know.
Just off the top of your head.
Oh, yeah. I was just memorizing those things last night. Awarded goal. I hate myself. Awarded goal. In the event that the goalpost is displaced, either deliberately or accidentally, they're doing a lot of work, by a defending player prior to the puck crossing the goal line between the normal positions of the goalpost, the referee may award a goal. In order to award a goal in this situation, the goalpost must have been displaced by the actions of a defending player. The attacking player must have an imminent scoring opportunity. So far, I think check, right? Prior to the goalpost being displaced, and it must be determined that the puck would have entered the net between the normal positions of the goalpost. And that last one is the one that when you watch the play, I'm assuming the goal twisting maybe distorts our view, but like the puck hits the outside of the net. And I don't know how if a pole is twisting, Emma, in the same place, I don't think it is physically moved left or right. I'm not sure about this. But that's the rule according to Captain Vingan. And I don't know. The review is bizarre. The situation is bizarre. The call was bizarre. I understand even, Emma, them doing the call in real time. saying, oh, he's got the puck on his stick. He's right there. The goal has been dislodged. It doesn't go in. It's probably a goal. Let's call it a goal, and then let's review it. That's probably the right thing to do. And if we were on the other end of this, I think that's what we would want them to do. So I'm going to try to be fair here. The question is the review. What is the explanation here?
I mean, this is oversimplifying it quite a bit, but I have to imagine that at least on some level, even an unconscious one, part of this was the guys in Toronto saying, oh, it's Nashville and Minnesota on November 4th. Whatever the ref said is fine. That's fine. It passes. Like, I mean, I don't think it was truly that, but there's got to be a level of that. I just think, I don't know. I think we all have to acknowledge and admit, no matter which team you're a fan of, like what bothers me the most, I think, is Minnesota fans saying, well, clearly that was obviously a goal. I don't see how you could not see that. It's like, don't lie. Yes, you can. Yes, you can see how people would think that. It is objectively a bizarre sequence. It's a bizarre situation. And so there's just so much subjectivity to it with the whole, oh, the puck definitely would have crossed the goal line. Well, how do we know that? We can't see into the future. We don't know that. And also, to your point about accidentally or intentionally from the defending player, all the people who are arguing about, oh, Onanen absolutely kicked it off intentionally. It's like, so what if he did?
It's irrelevant.
Well, he didn't. But so what if he did?
It's irrelevant. Yeah, it's irrelevant. If the player actually had put the puck between the two goalposts, it doesn't matter if Onanen did it because he was. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant. He could have picked it up with his hand, moved it, and dropped it. It wouldn't have mattered.
You did. You did a better job of what I was trying to do.
I got you.
Thank you. Pierre LeBrun. I don't get how this could have possibly counted. That's it. From Pierre LeBrun. Johansson missed the open net to begin with. Don't blame Predators for being furious. Now, look, we could pick and choose. Certain people on Twitter that say I don't know, and certain people on Twitter that say yes, sure. So I'm not trying to get into that war. It's not necessarily a healthy thing for anyone to do. But I if you watch it again, I'm not a physics professor, Emma. But if one of the posts is still in the ice on its moorings, and it twists and spins because the other one has been knocked off, regardless of how or why or what motives were attached to the goaltender, and it's spinning, I still don't see how that post physically moves anywhere. And since the puck went outside of the post and hit the outside of the net, I just, again, I'm not a physics professor here. I didn't go to MIT, but I don't know how that puck was going between the two regular locations of the post. In which case, It was a terribly blown call by the NHL office. I'm not faulting the referees on the ice for missing the call. I'm not.
Yeah. I think in the moment, that's an easily missed call for sure. But I think going back and reviewing it, that's what I have the issue with. I just hope everyone enjoyed just now watching Braden just like staring at his own hand during it would be great with no audio. Just imagine what Braden's talking about right now. Yep, just looking at his hand. Yeah, no, I think that I know Mike McCarron had some thoughts after the game last night, which, I mean, not that I've heard anything, but since they have a history of penalizing players and coaches who criticize officiating, if they fine Mike McCarron, I will pay the fine. And I say that metaphorically because I don't have money, but in spirit, I'll cut him a spirit check and I will, help source funding for that because it's so right. I mean, he said,
I feel like we got screwed tonight.
He said we got screwed tonight. I was like, hell yeah, brother. But I also think that his issue again, and I mean, that's basically like, this is who you're dealing with face to face. But when he was like, I don't see how he can stand there with a straight face and say that was a goal. And it's like, well, again, I blame the on ice officials less than I blame Toronto, but.
So Josh says the ref didn't signal until after the attacker put the puck across the line off the rebound, off the side of the net. Just crazy. So again, if that's the argument, make that argument. And I don't think I've seen that, but I agree with Logan here, is that there's just no way to know. And I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened. It could have happened. But normally, and I have not played hockey at an NHL level, but I've played a lot of hockey. I cannot remember standing in front of the net, bouncing the puck off the back of the net back to myself.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. And just all the pickup games that I played growing up. Logan said it was a rebound play where there was no guarantee that he would have gotten a rebound after the first shot. So why would the second shot count? So if they're saying to us that the second shot was the goal, clearly that puck did go between the two pipes and where the net would have been, and there was an imminent scoring chance, and the net had been knocked off. All of that is true, but you cannot guarantee that he would have even had the puck back on his stick if the net hadn't swung around and created a net for the puck to bounce back off directly. Like, it's not going to come that direction. It's not going to bounce back that direction. So, or at the very minimum, you cannot predict that it would have come back that direction had the net not been knocked off. I don't understand how the NHL could have ruled the way they did. So
that's the biggest thing to me. I'm not saying it for sure would not have been a goal, but I don't see how you can say that it for sure would have been a goal. And it's that lack of clarity that I think is what is the most frustrating, for them to just say, not only is this a goal, but this is a goal, a game-winning goal in overtime that decides the outcome of this game.
The biggest problem is that either argument is easily refuted from Josh. And again, let's be honest here. Let's step back and say, look, this is a really average to below average hockey team playing on a weeknight game against another really bad hockey team in early November. That is not going to affect anything for either team. It's not. I doubt that the Wild are within 1 point of losing out on a playoff spot at the end of the year. And I sure as hell don't see the Predators being pissed off about being 1 point shy of making the playoffs or anything like that. So we do have to make sure, in a moment of clarity and maturity and self-awareness, where we say, look, we got screwed last night, but we ain't doing anything else with it. Let's be honest.
For sure. Like, mathematically, you're correct. I don't think it's going to matter. But those things, it can be, those can be kind of defining moments in seasons. Maybe it's a momentum shift, a momentum swing. It can help kind of be a launch pad for something. But, having it end the way that it did is just deflating. So while I agree with you, this one game is not going to be the reason the Predators don't make the playoffs this year. It's still, still has an effect beyond just that one game.
So this is like a pseudo positive cathartic subject where we talk about the Preds being screwed by the NHL office. Okay, that's what that was.
Sure.
Now I'm gonna drive home the point that it didn't matter because again, this is a 500 average hockey coach now with 2+ years of data, including an 18-game unbeaten streak. They have won 4 games in regulation so far. They are near the bottom of the Central Division. They have one of the worst power plays, if not the worst power play in the world. They are one of the worst offensive hockey teams in the league. They have lost their captain to injury. They've lost their penalty killer to injury. The first ballot Hall of Famer has 3 points. The guy who was supposed to develop into the second line center has a single point. And none of that is, they are inventing, none of that is going to, this particular moment of catharsis for everybody is not changing the fact that all of that is still very much real and true. And that I don't know how that changes unless they change the coach. And that's not me calling for it. I'm just saying I don't know what is going to change. We'll get into the young players and we'll be positive in a second, but hold off on that. Is there anything you're seeing in how they're playing playing better against Minnesota, winning against Calgary, whatever it might be, fighting back in the third period against Vancouver in what was a very entertaining hockey game. Is there anything you're seeing in how they're playing that tells you that what you're saying, which is the Stamkos goal, and maybe they figure out a way to beat Minnesota on the road, and they beat a rival and an ex-coach, and they do it in sort of this like bizarro last-second fashion that it flips the switch, and all of a sudden they're off and running? What have you seen from the team that indicates that that's even possible?
Well, to your point about coaching, I think I still maintain that this is a horrible mismatch between coach and roster. And I think that this team is too old and too slow in a year where everyone's schedule is condensed because of the Olympics. And on top of that, they have the global series travel baked into that. So they are playing lots of games. It's very front loaded. They are, they're fatigued. They're tired. They can't rebound as quickly. And I think you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of laziness because when you get tired, you get lazy, you start to use your sticks more than your skates. And I think you're seeing a lot of that. And that's resulting in the sloppy play, in the chasing games, in the penalties. I think that this team is just not built to sustain the kind of hockey that Andrew Brunette wants them to play. And so while realistically speaking, no, that game probably wasn't going to be the turning point that started them on an 18-game point streak. But I think that it's still worth pointing out that it's, those kinds of losses are just deflating. And, for a team that could really use something right now.
And I wasn't in on this, but I heard Gover talking about it. But apparently Hala and Saros got into it in Finnish after
They
the
didn't
game.
get into it.
And I don't want to parse out like people are frustrated because they're losing games. That's all.
Well, I actually do know what they were talking about.
Okay.
That they were frustrated, not with each other. They were actually talking about the ref dropping the puck. It was something about like there's one word in Finnish that I do know that means the F word in English. And so there was a lot of that. And then I was able to determine the word drop. And I think
so you were there. Okay.
Well, I heard the video.
Okay.
So they were talking about dropping like
Can
the
you
ref.
Can you say the F word in Finnish?
No.
You can't. You physically can't, or you won't.
I won't.
Oh, come on.
I don't even know if no, because I don't know. I'm just like my weird American.
Now I'm gonna embarrass myself in a weird Finnish act. This is my wife always loves it when we travel, and she's like, I just admire you, Braden, because you actually like are willing to try to speak another language in another country. I'm like, yeah, you just got to try. Like, put in the effort. People appreciate that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see what it says.
It's like V2 or V.
V2, VITTU.
Yeah.
But you got to do it like in a, like a weird Norwegian, like a weird Scandinavian is what I meant to say. Scandinavian.
So accent. Now they're Norwegian.
Sorry, you're right. That was inappropriate. That was culturally insensitive. And Helsinki's the capital of Sweden, also.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding. I know where Stockholm is and where Helsinki is. I know. Okay.
And Oslo is Norway, just to round out the trio.
Thank you. VITTU.
Yeah.
There you go. So you heard that one a few times.
Yes. But they were talking about something with the ref dropping the puck in the face-offs. That's what the conversation was about.
Yes.
But they were very frustrated.
I meant to say Scandinavian. I know what Finnish is. I meant to say Scandinavian. I said Norwegian on accident, which is a part of Scandinavia. Okay. I apologize for being culturally insensitive to a bunch of white people. All right. As a middle-aged white person who probably came from that area originally. A little bit more German, but like basically in the grand scheme of the globe, my ancestors are from right there. That's where they're from. So
I can say that because my ancestors are from there.
Yeah. My ancestors are from near there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess ultimately
Braden doesn't see color. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Kevin, can't tell you people from Scandinavia. All right. Of course, ironically, the Preds will be there like late next week.
Yes.
They will play Philadelphia on Thursday this week, Dallas on Saturday. Then they got the Rangers in New York on Monday. Then they're off for 3 days for travel. Then they play Friday and Sunday in the Norwegian Scandinavian portion of Europe.
The Norwegian capital of Sweden.
They will play in Stockholm, which is the
Very
capital
good.
of Sweden, which is where
Right.
many Predators are from. Look, I've done lots of sporkles. Okay, I know where these countries are. Okay, just calm down. Calm down. 8 games until Thanksgiving. Emma, you said Thanksgiving was one of your points where you wanted to say, this is where we judge them. This is where we should reevaluate the coaching staff. I'm not saying that's what Barry Trotz is going to do. We did have a question about Barry Trotz coaching, and I do have a very strange feeling that he is.
I think we lost Braden. I don't know where or why he went, but here
Trotz's
we go.
henchman got to me.
We're back.
I was about to say Trotz's going to fire Brunette and cement himself as the interim coach. We're having house. That's like the 3rd time that's happened. So I apologize.
Okay. Could have warned me beforehand, but
I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen.
Like, Braden's gone.
Trotz has
Where's
the
everybody from?
Trotz has the button in his desk that just says like kill the feed, and he pushes it whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
No, I have this weird feeling that
I thought you went to Stockholm or Helsinki.
Actually, Josh is probably right. It's probably more Sean Henry that's monitoring everything and pushing buttons to kill things. There's no question about that. So I don't know. I do have this weird feeling that he's going to end up being the interim, not because he thinks he deserves to be the head coach long term, but because we've seen this in the past, especially in college football, for example, where like the athletic director who used to be the former coach fires a guy and has like one bowl game they've got to coach. They're like, I'll just do it. And then he does it, knowing he's got to go hire someone full time or whatever. But like, it seems like it would just be the most tone deaf thing he could possibly do, which is finally do the thing that the fans kind of want him to do right now, which is make a move on the coaching staff, and then do the thing that no one wants him to do, which is put himself in charge. I don't think he does it. We can entertain the question, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I mean, the whole context is important. And when Jeff was talking about that, Jeff and Wyshynski were talking about that on the show, it's very much tongue in cheek. Like, it's inevitable, right? I mean, come on. Like, it's not something that would actually happen. Like, I just don't see. Like, there are so many people, like, namely any of the assistant coaches on staff, who would step in as the head coach before Barry Trotz would. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Barry has no interest in going back behind the bench. And again, to the point about wanting a change on the coaching staff, I get it. I understand it. And I think it would make more sense if this is a team that's trying to win right now, which theoretically they are, or they said they are, but they're clearly not. So, and right now with the team that you have, I don't know that a coaching change mid-season is going to change that. I don't think it's going to fix that. So I can see, like, I don't think Andrew Brunette is objectively a bad coach. I think he's a bad fit for this roster. But that's because most of this roster is collecting Social Security right now. And I just think it's difficult to be able to kind of thread that needle. You look at other well-constructed rosters in the NHL. It's the young players, like look at Utah, for example. The young players are carrying the, specifically in this case, the offensive production. It's the young players are the stars. They are the core around which this team is built. The over 30 guys are there for support, but they are not the difference makers on the team. They're there, they support and they bolster, and they are the safety net when young players make young player mistakes. But they are not the ones who are driving everything. And that is the problem, is that with this current roster, it's built so that they keep relying on the veterans to do everything. And the veterans clearly can't, not in this system. So I don't know what the answer is here, other than that it's clearly a bad fit. It's a bad match.
So around everybody drink, because Emma said objectively, Andrew Burnett is not a bad coach. It's just not a good fit for the roster. Everybody drink. We're about 8 games from Thanksgiving, as I said, and 8 games is about 200 games for Andrew Burnett as the coach, not counting the playoff series. If you count the playoff series, it's just over 200 games as a head coach. If you think he is going to be 6-2 in that stretch, cool. Then he is like 1 or 2 games above 500 as a head coach over 200 games. And at some point, you just are what your record says you are. Overachieved 1 year, historically underachieved the second year, basically average to a little below average this year. I just think you've got enough information at that point. And again, it doesn't mean he doesn't go on to become a great coach somewhere else or a good coach somewhere else. But I just think you have enough information. And the other thing I was thinking about is I cannot remember a time. Now, I've only covered this team since 2016. That was when I first started covering the team for 102.5, doing the morning show in training camp of 2016. Turned out to be a good year to start covering the team, 16, 17. I had season tickets when I lived downtown, and I used to go to games in the last few years of Barry Trotz, which weren't good, and all through the first couple of years of Lavi, which were entertaining and volatile, but entertaining. I cannot remember a time since I started covering the team that the fan base was more disappointed. Like, I don't even have the right adjectives. There is nothing there for people to get excited about right now. And that may not even be, again, the quality of the player or the quality of the coach that we're talking about. It's just the whole thing isn't working. And the empty seats, the single game ticket sales, it's apathetic, says Josh. I agree. It's not even that. It's like people don't care about the team in a way that I cannot remember in a decade of doing this. That people are just like, well, whatever. And then I guess you're right, Josh. That is apathy. But it's also like it's laced with like anger and frustration and like I don't expect you. It's hopelessness is what it is. It feels hopeless for fans to go in there and for fans to watch this. And we're about to talk about some good things. Matthew Wood is a good thing. That Matthew Wood has got 6 points and scored 3 goals is a really good thing for the team. I think, Emma, that it's a really good thing that while the team isn't great, the metrics aren't good, and they're not scoring a bunch of goals, and they're losing in crazy fashion, and the players are yelling at each other, and Yossi's hurt, none of this is good, but that the young players playing in close games, because that's the one thing you can say, is they've been in close games most of the season. Blown out once or twice, but that's about it. They've been close in the third period, lots of overtime games, and those moments, those minutes for young players are really beneficial. There's a lot of benefit to Matthew Wood and Ozzy Weisblatt and, whoever else gets called up, Zach LaRue, for these guys to be playing in third periods where they're down a goal or up a goal or tied. Those are good minutes to learn about how to be an NHL player. But on the big club level, like paying attention to the standings and what the team is doing and the excitement level and the entertainment value and all the things you spend money on as a fan, I cannot remember it being this hopeless. And that's just a weird emotion I feel like I'm picking up.
Yeah, I would say apathetic is the right way. I mean, I think that this is kind of like, and now I'm not speaking to the diehards here, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, this is kind of a fair weather fan base to the point where, if the team isn't doing well, like in 2017, why would we get excited? Who cares? We're in Nashville. There's so many other things, to pay attention to and to distract ourselves with around here. It's not even, I mean, yes, I get it. It's anger and frustration, but it's the apathy to me. It's more like, give us something to be excited about. And there hasn't been that. I mean, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, there was. You know, it's crazy. It feels like it's been longer, but the whole, bringing in Stamkos and Marchessault, that level of excitement, it really wasn't that long ago that they felt that. So I don't know what needs to be done to get that back, but I just think that Barry Trotz has already lost a lot of the trust from the fan base that he will do anything to actually improve this.
No, I don't think he's got a lot of trust. I agree with you on that, and that's a major concern. And there's a really good question here from Josh. Says it's the back end of chasing away a core of long-term fans to try to bring in short-term, more fickle group of fans after 17. I think there's a really interesting kind of longer conversation about Josh's point and your point kind of together, which is I think Nashville as a city, and we've talked about this, I think Nashville as a city is very fair weather, very fickle. That, if the party's not cool anymore, we move on real fast. And parties tend to get uncool quickly. It's just kind of the nature of parties. And I'm saying that generically, like Titans, Preds, sports, music, whatever it is, restaurants, like all of a sudden it jumps the shark real quickly in this town, faster than it does, it seems like, any other places. And so people are quick to move on. I think what's interesting about what Josh says is I don't think you can fault the Predators for going to the Cup and then trying to capitalize on that financially. I think that's what every business does. You get a product that all of a sudden is really, really hot and really, really good and really, really desirable. You have to capitalize on supply and demand, and you have to charge what you can charge to make as much revenue as possible. That's what every business in America does. So I don't think it's that they intentionally wanted to bring in short-term, fickle fans that aren't diehards. I think that just kind of happens naturally when you up the prices. And so I don't think it's that they were intentionally trying to hurt anybody or bring in somebody less than or less committed or whatever it might be. I just think that happens, and it's unfortunate. It just is what it is. That you had a great season, and then you have a President's Trophy and then 2 division titles in a row. You're going to start charging more for tickets. And that happens. Now, the problem is they're not bringing the ticket prices down. Although they are on the single game basis where they're like, please come to Bridgestone Arena. Here's $11 tickets.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fickle fan base because of the price point inside of an already fickle city in a sport that is not in like it's not 100 years in the South. So I just think it's I get all of that. I think all that's important context around the atmosphere and the apathy and how quick people are to turn away from the team.
Yeah, I think, it's hard, and the reality, the answer likely lies somewhere in the middle of all of this. Like, whose fault is it? Is it Barry Trotz? Is it Andrew Brunette? Is it the veterans? Who do we blame for this? Is it David Poyle? You could go back there. I just think that Barry Trotz tried to do too much too quickly, and he picked a direction, and it was the wrong direction. But no one at the time, again, not
me
no
included,
one, but a lot of people, no one faulted him for that. But now they're like, that idiot, how could he have picked the wrong direction? Okay, fine. We can fault him for that. But I would say the bigger issue has been how he has tried to correct or reverse course or lack thereof. I mean, I don't think he should be totally reactionary in everything that he does. I think would make things worse, but a lot of it just seems like he is still acting very much like a coach, very much like, oh, this is a problem. We need to fix this right now. And I also think, and I've said this before, again, probably oversimplifying it, but I do think that there is a level of like, I don't know, I've had this before, like with like my friends who have kids, and when they're little kids, they grow up so quickly. So it's like going 6 months between seeing them is like, whoa, it's like a whole person now. So like if you see a friend's kid and you haven't seen that kid in like a year, in your head, they're stuck at the age that you last saw them at. So when you see them and they look so much old, you're like, whoa, that is how I feel like Barry Trotz sees a lot of these veterans. He's like, oh, Steven Stamkos. Yeah. And it's like, well, all right, hold on. I think a lot of these guys were in their prime when Trotz was a coach. They are no longer in their prime. Not saying that they can't be valuable assets to the team and that they don't have a role to play, but that's exactly what they should be, is role players. These are not guys that need to be built around anymore at this stage in their careers. So I think it's a little too dismissive, too flippant to say like, well, Stamkos is cooked, he sucks now. It's like, no, I don't think he sucks now, but I think that he is being asked to play a role that he shouldn't be.
If he is the 6th player in a top 6, where he's the 3rd most important player on the second line, where the center and the right winger are just sort of still better, more powerful, more younger, more productive players, but he's the other guy, I bet you he's a 55-point player.
Yeah, and that's what you need him to be. I think if your roster was constructed correctly. But the problem is, I think the way it's been built right now, they can't do anything to immediately or quickly reverse course on this. So I think you're destined for a rebuild, and I think it's going to take several years. It's something that Trotz tried to make happen very quickly, and it didn't work. That's fine. I mean, a lot of people would say that's not fine, but at least he tried. He tried.
Yeah, I can't kill him for getting to the playoffs with a coach who overachieved, where everyone had career years, and then saying we've got all this cap space, let's go for it. I don't really fault the logic behind that. It's hindsight now, and no pun intended. We can go back and look at it, and we can go, well, that shouldn't have happened. I don't know what else you do with the money. I don't know what the right strategy is there, but there's not like a good alternative anyway. And I do think a lot of you guys in the comments, Josh and Brad, are saying, look, they forced out their diehards with the price hikes. They didn't do anything to try to preserve the people that had been here a long time. And I don't disagree with all of that. I just don't know what you ask of a business to do when the demand for their product skyrockets and people are willing to pay more. It's bad business to not do that. So I understand the ripple effects of this. Just like I understand that it obviously didn't work here with Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea. And I do think, I don't know about Marchessault's long-term. Like, he might actually just be retiring soon after this contract. But like, I imagine that Shea and Stamkos would be better somewhere else. Meaning if you traded them, they would go on and be more productive. Some of that's because they're playing on this particular team and this roster. I just am at the point, like, 82, 80, and 17. If you take the playoffs, Andrew Brunette is 84, 84, and 17. That is literally dead even. How many more games do we need to see what he is with this team and this group of players in this organization? He is 500. He's an average hockey coach. And honestly, 500 in the NHL, it's kind of below average, technically. Like, bad teams are above 500. Like, a lot of the times don't make the playoffs. So I just don't know what else you need. Like, I don't know what else you need to know at this point. And I'm not, they're not making a move anytime soon, but I don't know. What else do we need to see here?
Well, I guess that's kind of the crux of my argument, because people will come to me, why aren't they firing him? Why haven't they fired Brunette? I don't think they're going to, so buckle up for that. But I think that's kind of why I come back to, why are we spending time on this? It's not going to happen. Whether you think it's right or wrong, Barry Trotz is not going to fire Andrew Brunette mid-season. I just don't see it happening. I'm not saying that's the right call.
It would have to be pretty bad.
It would have to be really bad. And a lot of people probably think it's really bad right now, but I mean, it would have to be like off ice really bad.
All right, so then let's end on a high note here. Let's end on some form of positive note, which is that the only argument I think you can make for Andrew Brunette keeping his job is if there's a bunch more Matthew Wood developments. And if there's a bunch of those that are happening, because my first order of operation would not be firing Brunette. It would be trading Steven Stamkos. And I would begin the sell-off quickly. I would sell Ryan O'Reilly now, charge as much as you can for Ryan O'Reilly. Charge as much as you can for Michael McCarron. I think those are actually 3 pretty good trade chips, honestly. And if you start putting more Matthew Woods in the lineup and you start seeing some results, now granted, is Matthew Wood going to have the same success without O'Reilly and Stamkos out there? Maybe. But at the end of the day, if Brunette can coach the young players and they develop, that is the only messaging strategy that Barry Trotz has to the fans. And if they are under 500 at Thanksgiving, under 500 at the New Year, and we're like, no, we're keeping Andrew Brunette, then you've got to tell us why. And it's because he's the best job to develop the young players on the roster and in the farm system. Zach LaRue's been called up. We'll see what he can do. I know you're excited about that. Ozzy Weisblatt has been a nice piece. I think Spencer Stasny, through his own work, but through the whole thing, is better. Luke Evangelista looks a little bit better, more productive. Matthew Wood has, he's 5th on the team in goals, just like that. Yeah. It doesn't take much. So that's the messaging strategy.
I think I could be 5th on the team in goals right now. But
I know. You do have the lettuce going today, by the way. You got the
I just think that's the thing where I keep coming back to the mismatch. It's like Andrew Burnett's supposed to be really good coaching young players, developing young players, who I think young players are more suited to this style of play anyway. And so that's all true. But then Barry Trotz went and got him all these old guys who can't play well in this system. So it's making the product much worse than it should be. And so then, that way I think you talk about you want to see what Brunette can do with these young players. Same. But it's like, what about Svechkov? He hasn't really done much. Evangelista is okay. I think we'd want to see him producing a little bit more at this point. I think that, again, Wood is great. Weisblatt is great. Stastny is great. Hopefully they can keep it up. But again, I think that it comes down to, are those players being held back not so much by the coaching, but more by the construction of the roster, because they are not getting the same opportunities that they would otherwise. So that's just kind of where I come down to it, is like, yes, I'm sure part of it is coaching for sure, but I don't think it's that simple. I think a lot of it is the roster construction.
No,
holding them back.
But you know how you find out? Play them.
I get it.
That's how you find out. That's how you find out, is play them. And honestly, I know, was it Brad, I think, that was asking, like, hey, if you start trading these players away, like, who are the centers? I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care. It's like, honestly, you play left-hand defenseman, don't care. Like, put good players on the ice, see if they stick.
Put Justin Barron at center.
See if someone rises to the occasion. See if Tanner Molendijk can hang. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't really matter. If you're just playing young players to get them better, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Just give them opportunities to grow and to show what they can do, to learn from the experience. And if you're the right coach for that job, then let's change the entire messaging strategy and the entire roster strategy, and let's go with that, and let's see what happens. And then you can go. Barry Trotz can say, and this is what I think he would actually. This is what's so frustrating with this. I actually think Barry Trotz would do a good job messaging some self criticism. Like, I think he would be good at it. I think fans would take it and would be like, oh, I appreciate that. Nashville's as we talked about, one of the things that makes Nashville fickle is that we're also like, we just kind of respect some chill. If you're just like cool about it, we're cool with you. And if Barry Trotz is like, they trade away all the veterans, they play a bunch of young guys, they lose a bunch of games, but you can see it, right? You can see the future construct of the team. Barry Trotz could come to the podium at the end of the season and say, guys, man, that was my fault, man. We overachieved. We set some personal records. We went for the playoffs, and we thought, you know what? We owe it to the fans to try here. And that was the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done that. That's on me. I gave Andrew Brunette a roster that didn't fit his system, and while a lot of the young players weren't ready yet, now we're seeing Kemmel and Wood and Weisblatt and Mollendijk and all these guys be ready now. It doesn't matter. You could just own it. And I actually think that would come off very well. I think fans would be like, all right, I appreciate that. You said you screwed up. You said you tried something we shouldn't have tried. Now let's do this other thing that we all thought we were doing in the first place. And I think it would come off well. I think fans would receive it well.
I mean, he kind of did that when but like not nearly enough. And only with regard to, I kind of dealt Bruno a bad hand last year with, I think, the pieces that he added. It's like, yeah, but you got to take a little bit more ownership of it than that. Because I think that Bruno is taking so much of the heat for this. And some of it's deserved. I think some of it is deserved. But people don't realize that these decisions with players and things like ice time, they don't happen in a vacuum. A lot of that is coming from the front office. It's coming from the GM as well. Like everything is a calculated decision. So there are certain things that are totally up to the coach, but most of these things, these are decisions that are made in tandem with one another. And right now it seems like Barry's, I don't even know what the word is, but like Barry's way of apologizing to Bruno or kind of like scratching his back for him is by letting him keep his job. And right now it's still just, I feel like the messaging, as you said, could be better. Right now it's this like toxic positivity from Barry Trotz. And it's
Read
like,
the room,
no one's
dude.
buying it.
Read the
No
room.
one's buying it anymore. Yeah. Like
read the room. You need a scalp, number one. And it needs to be you. Like the fans want like somebody's skin on the wall, and I think you need to be the one that does that for them. And in a roundabout way, you protect your coach by doing that, by taking the blame. Now that's the end of the season is a long way from now, but there are going to be opportunities, whether they make a big trade or something happens, an injury and a young player comes up. There are going to be opportunities throughout the season where he could take ownership of the mistakes that, honestly, I don't, again, to your point earlier, nobody really saw the spending spree last year in the moment as this terrible idea. There's a few of you out there that were like, I don't know. But by and large, everybody was like, okay, fine. It's not our money. Let's go. That was my message to people. That was my thought about it. It still is. Hey, it's fun having these guys here. Oh, hey, they got younger on the defense corps with a guy who could skate for another 6 or 7 years here, 6 or 7. And sorry. At least I didn't do the hand gesture. And I think you could just win a lot of people back if you just sort of own it. And just tell people, hey, our bad. And I know it's not what GMs or coaches and players are good at doing, but you'd be surprised how effective it is, especially in Nashville, where we'll be easily forgiving if we are also easily like leaving the party and going elsewhere and easily distracted. Use that to your benefit. Just say, hey, we screwed up. That was my fault. I thought we should go for it. We had those resources. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. And I mean, part of me wonders, I don't know if it's too late for that. Like if the damage has already been done.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. You're right. There's not a lot of move. I mean, the other thing is what moves could Barry Trotz make from now until either a coaching decision or the end of the season where people are actually going to go, I trust that. I'm buying into that. If you trade Stamkos, I think most people would react with a sense of relief. Like, okay, fine. That experiment didn't work. We got the contract off the books. Okay, cool.
I really do think that that's kind of the only move of significance that Barry Trotz could make right now that would really restore some level of trust in him. Now, that being said, talking to people around the league, the general consensus is that no one is even coming near that contract unless Nashville retains half. So, I mean, if Nashville's still paying him $4 million a year for the next, this year plus 2 more, are people going to see that as a failure? I don't know. So it's just hard to kind of know how people are going to react.
Nash, Lana, and Lop are talking about it because first of all, you and I could trade Ryan O'Reilly. Like you and I could get a good return for Ryan O'Reilly. But Nash, Lana, and Lop are talking about Eric Holla being moved. Yeah, everyone with an expiring deal should be moved. Michael Bunting, Michael McCarron. I think Justin Barron's on that list unless they're going to re-sign him. And right now, I don't think that's a move anybody would trust. Going back to our trust.
He's an RFA, so they have exclusive rights. So they could trade his rights, but
okay. My point is like the contracts expire. There's a handful of them. He's might be the only RFA, but the other ones, it's McCarron, Holla, Bunting. O'Reilly's technically not until next year, but like that's a really good deal to move. So I think all those guys, everybody who can be moved should be moved. In theory, make as much space for the young players as possible, and then let's see what the coach can do. So then we learn both things. Was it the roster construction that was blocking the players, or was it the coach? And if that's the case, we'll find out both. Stop it. Stop it. Juice being moved, I don't think that's an option. Not with a backup plan already established.
Yeah.
But man, it's almost like if they had a really high level top flight goaltending prospect.
Oh, don't stir the pot.
You could have traded UC Saros when you already had sort of like a succession.
I'm sorry. Have you seen how Askarov has been doing lately in San Jose?
I have not. It's bad.
Yeah. Go look up his numbers and then come back to me with that.
I'm Team Juice. I'm UC Saros should be here.
They have, yes, UC Saros should be here. They also have the new Jack Ivankovic, who's long-term.
They love this guy.
He's a great goaltender, and I think that now you've got a much better timeline. The timeline aligns for these two guys much better than Askarov and Sara.
I'm trying to look up where is the best way to find. Here we go. Okay. I want goaltenders here. I want to know the highest AAV for all goaltenders in the NHL right now currently.
Isn't it Bobrovsky?
Shesterkin, Price, and Bobrovsky are all double digits per year. This is according to Spotrac, so maybe this is wrong. Vasilevsky at 9.5, Demko at 8.5, Hellebuck at 8.5, Ullmark at 8.25, Ottinger at 8.25, Swayman at 8.25, Sorokin at 8.25. There's some good money right now this year. You got to get to number 10 on the list, UC Saros. He is barely a top 10 highest paid goaltender in the NHL. And I could argue that he is performing exactly at that rate, if not higher than that so far this season. So I am not anti-Saros. I am not I was okay with the strategy of trading Saros before the extension as a total bottoming out 3 to 5 year plan to be awful.
Remember the whole earlier in the show when you were talking about how the Predators have been playing close games, how many games have been close and what valuable experience that is? You know why these games have been close?
Justin Barron.
And on that, now I'm just going to disappear. I'll just disappear off the show like you did earlier.
Yes, it's UC. The answer is UC Saros is the answer. Sinkers Beverages is the answer to all your beverage needs all across the weekend and during Preds games when you have to watch that godforsaken FanDuel Sports app like I do. Or if you're at Bridgestone Arena, apparently paying for $11 tickets and getting free hot dogs or whatever the deals are now these days as they're trying to give away tickets. Let's see what happens. That is for sure. Make sure you go to Sinkers Beverages, 5-time liquor store of the year. Have the booze delivered directly to your house. Search on Uber Sinkers Beverages, and they'll do that for you. They have, I am now a wine drinker now that I've been to Spain. I don't know anything about wine, but you know who does?
Sinkers Beverages.
Bam! That's right. That's correct. Thanks for answering the question, Emma.
I didn't know if it was a rhetorical question. You were pausing for dramatic effect. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
All the above. All the above. And I went in. I was like, hey, I'm a sommelier now. And I need you to pick me out some good stuff. And they gave me like 4 different bottles of wine for less than $20. And I even earned points with my sister-in-law, who was like, this is pretty good. And she's like the wine drinker in the family. She came over to do post-Halloween celebration with the kids and everything, opened up the bottle of wine, served her a glass. She's like, oh, this is really good. I was like, yes, I'm an expert Thanks, Sinkers. Appreciate it. Award-winning retail beer fridge and elite allocations if you like the brown water, which is something I do know about. So make sure you check that out. Andrew says, so what really happened to Yossi? Was it the October 23rd hit by Baines? And do we believe it's not POTS related? I believe it's not POTS related. What about you?
The team and Yossi himself have both said, like, specifically that it's not POTS related. So we have no reason to believe that that's not true.
Roman Yossi, always known for his lying and deception.
Yes. Master of deception, Roman Yossi. So.
Funny stuff. Okay. Oh, don't look at the centers drafted after Askarov. That's what Brad says. I don't want to do that. All right. Anything else you want to add? Where can the good folks find you and what have you been working on?
The good folks and only the good folks can find me over at the Hockey News every Tuesday and Thursday, talking about the rest of the NHL if you need a little break from what's going on in Predators land.
There you go. All right, everybody. Stay tuned for more coverage. Lower Broad Hockey at Emma_Lingan. You can get to me at Braden Gall. We'll see what happens. They're going to Norwegia next weekend, and we'll see what happens. It's not even a country. Matthew Wood has been balling, and Ivan Kovic looks incredible in the NCAA. Give Trotz his credit, says Eddie. That's how we're going to end the show. Positive note there. Sinkers Beverages, Emma Lingan. I am Braden Gall. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. We will talk to you next week.